For those of you living in Africa and in the Caribbean and places that would be classified as third world countries and think that the grass is greener on the other side, I have a message for you, my friend. I'd love to be living where you are living. I'm not disputing that things may be easier and more accessible in the Western world. Like here in the UK, where I've lived for several years, I've managed to get by. I have a good education. I've managed to get around easily, and there's so many advantages to being here in the UK. I'm not disputing those things. But what I am looking at is the advantages that there are in the Caribbean and in Africa, where you're living the life of Riley, as we would call it here in the UK. You don't have so much red tape as we have here. It's so easy for you to go out there and to be earning a living, making something of yourselves. It's so much easier than it is here in the UK. The images that you have of us living in the West are just so wowing, but everything isn't always as it seems. We are here and we have to go through the cold weather. In the winter times, we're still having to go out to our 9-to-5 jobs, those who are working 9 to 5, even those who are self-employed, they're still having to plod through the cold, the snow, the rain, and it's so often so cloudy here in the UK. I've had people from the US say to me, why is it always looking so grey and muggy there in the UK? And I said, because it's always grey and muggy. That's the reality of things, you know. You don't know what you have there. You have the sunshine 24/7. And if there are places that are too hot for you, there's always another area. I heard that like Rwanda is a cooler place to be living, and there's places in Kenya up in the mountains that are cooler areas that you can go to. And if you love the sunshine, if you love the heat, intense heat, there's places like Mombasa that you can go to, which is a coastal area where has lovely beaches and so on. And what do we have here? It's not all rosy as you think it is. And it's not just that. The cost of living here is so high. As a matter of fact, the UK is one of the top 3 countries with the highest cost of living that there is. Imagine that. You may earn the pound sterling, but what are you ending up with at the end of the day? What do you have after you've worked 5 to 6 days a week, 9 to 5, and then you have this massive rent you have to pay. If it's not rent, it's a mortgage that you have to pay. The average house price here is around about 200,000. And whereas when you're in the Caribbean, you're in Africa, you can build your own house. Even if it's the lowest form of house with building a mud house, you can still do it yourself, and you don't have this massive mortgage that you have to be paying or this extremely high rent. Living in London is so expensive that people are having to move out of London and going to the rural areas where they can survive better. And this is the reality of things. And also, with the food prices, it is so expensive here. Us as Jamaicans living in the UK, and we're getting foodstuffs coming from, imported from Jamaica. We're paying an arm and a leg for the yams, the sweet potatoes, the green bananas. It is so expensive. I mean, the average price of food is high, and on top of that, for us to get our own authentic Jamaican foods, we're paying twice the price. Like I was saying to a Kenyan friend the other day, to buy one avocado pear, we're paying £2 to £3 for each pear. That's for one pear. Not for half a dozen, just for one pear. I've been hearing people abroad complain about the cost of living, but they're not experiencing what we're experiencing here in the UK. And you know, the worst part about living in the West, the UK in my case, is the colour prejudice. Yes. You would have thought that in 2024, Britain would be more accepting of us as black people. But no, it remains the same. It seems like the prejudice is in their DNA. It's been gone down from generation to generation to generation. And yes, my friend, I've been experiencing these prejudices for years. But here I am now. I'm still here in the UK, and why? Because I haven't found a way to get out. It's like when you're here, you're in this struggle, this financial struggle. You try and make the grade, but it's so difficult. You work and you work and you work, and what do you have at the end of the day? But like I was saying, with the colour prejudice, there are times I want to go to certain events or certain places, but I hesitate from doing that, to save myself the embarrassment and to stop myself from feeling like a second-class citizen. And yes, that is what we are. We are second-class citizens because we are out of our own environment. And so I am here putting up with this, and you are there, and you have all the things around you that you need. You're amongst your own people. They look like you. They're the same color as you. They accept you. So, my friend, don't think you're lesser than us, because you're not. You have as much as we have, but it's different. You have more resources, the minerals in your countries, which we don't have here in Britain, because Britain has to get it from you. So, my friend, please accept where you are and make the best of whatever situation that you're in. And that's my 2 cents worth.